Yeah, today's something really nice. Gamo Coyote. In this case, with an additional silencer that has been retrofitted and screwed on. I'm just going to unscrew it now, simply because it makes the whole thing a bit more manageable when I'm handling it. Yeah, you can buy silencers freely these days. In quotes, so from 18 years old, because after a legislative change, I think it was in 2017, could that be? So, silencers are no longer fundamentally prohibited, but they are actually treated the same as the firearm they are intended for. That means it's for a firearm that's free, those 18 and older. So it's also free for those 18 and older. And what I also have to mention, since this is an air rifle, it doesn't have a crazy loud muzzle blast, but it does produce a muzzle sound. It works pretty well. Gamo, Coyote, 177, of course. That's quite a hefty piece. This is a repeating air rifle. Yeah, so you really get quite a handful here. And I have to say, precision is always pretty much the most important thing. I've got somewhere here. As always, 20 shots at 10 meters. You know me, always the same. You have to hold it like this so you can see it a bit. Here. White t-shirt is always bad. Go over here, then you'll see it. So for 20 shots for a non-match airgun. Wow. I bought a scope for it. This is a Futang scope. One of those I've always been talking about, where you can basically adjust the parallax at the front. Freestanding turrets that you can turn at any time. You don't need a screwdriver for that. You can twist it by hand. Then it also has a zoom feature and an eyepiece adjustment, meaning the optic correction. But that's actually not part of today's commentary here. Yeah, this thing has an adjustable cheek piece. This is it. And of course, I bought it used again. Everything was already set up the way I wanted it. You can also do quite a bit with the trigger, and you don't need to worry about it now. Why does this thing have two triggers? No, it's not a double-barreled. One is the safety, right? At least it's not automatic, but manual. I mean, it doesn't constantly turn on when you don't need it, but only when you want it. We're also going to do the following. So now comes the trick. Nowadays, the magazines are held in place with small magnets, which means they just snap right in. 2001, and they stay in there, and you can also pull them out again. The magazine is 1. Now I have to think about what makes 10 logical, 12 makes sense, whatever. So you have to turn them on here. You can turn it on the outside. There are also small numbers on it so you can see how much is still in the drum. No, you can't just spin it around. When you let go, it snaps back. Then a yellow dot appears here in the little hole at the bottom. When you turn it away, the yellow dot disappears. 2001, so you know, oh, the magazine is not empty. I think it was 10. Don't hold me to it, but I think it was 10. They cost about 25 each, that's why I only got 1. So 1 is included, but each additional one costs a lot of money, and I don't need that many magazines since I would have to reload them all individually anyway. Underneath here, we have a compressed air tank. That long thing under the barrel. No, it doesn't pump itself up. You have to pump it up yourself with a proper pump. Or you have a compressor. Or a scuba tank works too. Up front there's a cap on it. You have to twist it. I don't really know. I haven't pumped it back up yet because there's still so much in it. I can hold it towards you now because you're just a camera. You're not really here. I don't know who was smart enough to figure out that it's a great idea to mount a pressure gauge so you can see it from the front. He thought it was clever. Yeah, that's just how it is. It's probably cheaper than if you mount it on the side. Up front you can see a thread. Normally a small overmolded nut goes over it. That looks like a microscopic muzzle brake, just a bit too short. That's basically just a thread protector. This thing normally comes without a silencer. And now we're going to do the following. I'm going to shoot it empty. And I can do that because there's no firing spring in the traditional sense here. So it's just a bang. Yeah, I know the camera can't really compare it. I know the camera captures some really strange things. I can only tell you. With a silencer, the click in the system is louder than the shot. So, it's just perfect for not disturbing the neighbors. Plus, it looks incredibly important. We're in a whole different quality zone here compared to the cheap stuff I usually deal with. Aside from that, for example, so this rubbing thing that it kind of comes towards you. They're not glued in, they're plugged in on both sides. You can, for example, also swap it for something in a different color, I guess. Here it is. Also, this isn't cut fish skin, it's somehow a cast part. So, all in all, I think the production will be cheap. We're talking about a new price. It's definitely well over 600. I think I saw 605 and 30 euros. That changes from time to time, and I actually paid 283 for it. Yeah, it's quite a statement. But on the other hand, it's also a bargain, so to speak. And they don't come up that often at Airgun. So, used ones aren't like the competition air rifles, Feinwerkbau and Weihrauch and so on, where you see several every weekend. With something like this, you really need a bit of luck. And I got lucky again. Although that's probably not luck. It's just about who is tough enough and keeps checking and has the time to wait until something shows up. Yeah, that might also be luck. There's also a scope rail on here that's long enough to fit everything you want to put on it. Yeah, that corresponds roughly to the precision I expect from one of my rifles. So I can say that if I shoot this thing freehand, then the rifle is probably more accurate than I am, which makes it fun. It's always annoying when you know it's a scattergun that kind of hits the general direction. Yeah, what more can I say about it? The trigger is appropriate for the price. Everything's good. It's also adjustable within certain limits. Probably just here in terms of the upfront or the weight, whatever. It always has to do with product liability in America. 2001, although in this case they are Spaniards. I think it says somewhere here. Fill pressure maximum 202 and 30 bar. As I said, I haven't had to refill it again and I haven't needed to. It's relatively big. The tank can hold 4.5 liters. Serial number, character. F character is now the topic. Very important. Oh, it says made in EU here. Although only Spain is really an option. Question, because we have it assembled in the Czech Republic. But I've never seen made in EU before. At least you learn something new every day. I think that's it for now. What else should I say about that? It's a bit tricky, I have to say. You have to get used to this repeating mechanism. It's really simple. But then you tension the striker at the back. For example, if you have an old one, it tensions. Wait a minute. Flop with a silencer. 2001. If you have an old one, you already tension the hammer. This click motion. That means when you pull it back, you don't have any extra weight. You've got that here, and it's definitely noticeable. Yeah, sometimes things can get stuck, that happens. So you have to be careful when cycling through. Where's the forward here, anyway? Oh, it goes over an axis in the middle. Well, nice. Either way, I'm going to have a lot of fun with it. Flop. Impressive. So the spotlight is really good. No, I'm not going to give a specific source right now, because it seems so good. I wasn't really happy with the source. Why, I ordered, I paid, and then I got a message from Hermes saying I could pick it up at the package shop. But my first question is, why didn't I pay for it to be delivered to the front door? I went there and asked what was going on. The delivery person didn't find it. The shipper, the client, checked the box for delivery, the package shop. He saved $2 at my expense, which he then pocketed for himself. I wrote to him again. And so he makes a living by creating divorces. And I asked, yeah, how's that? Is that intentional? Is that the system? Was that a mistake? Unfortunately, he hasn't found the time to reply to me until today. That must have been about 2 weeks ago. Yeah, and that's why I'm not mentioning the address here. Not the source. I don't like it. All right, that's it. That's what I wanted to share. Then I'll stretch it all out again so I can sink the magazine back in there. The empty magazine? That's what this nice point on the side is for. I have to think about that again. There's the top, there's the back, there's the front. Does it really have to fit in like this? Yeah, it fits. 1,000. I can't hear it often enough when he says flop instead of bang. Fascinating. Thanks for tuning in, says the man with the big orange hands, who is now getting up and has to turn off his camera all by himself. 2001.